following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Filthy FRB show. It's Wednesday, July 22nd. Of course, I'm always joined by Filthy Tom Lawler, who is in Chicago. A few days before his fight on Fox against John Vellante. But we're joined by 2011 Penthouse Pet of the Year, Nikki Benz. What's going on, Nikki?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, it's not too much. How are you doing, Tom? Are you hanging in there?
Yeah, I'm hanging in here. I just got done eating dinner. It could be my last dinner before this weigh-in. We will see. So I feel good right now, and over the next 2 days, I'm sure I'll feel worse and worse. But I feel pretty good right now, so this interview is keeping my spirits up.
Yeah, I mean, that was the amazing thing, Nikki. You know, like, when you gave me this date that this was a good time, you know, for you to talk, I didn't think Tom was going to be able to do it. You know, because when these guys are going to be locked inside a cage and fight, they're like, you know, they got to cut weight, and then there's all these, like, mental things, you know. I'm just amazed that he answered the bell here. I'm
glad it all worked out.
So, do you watch the UFC, or have you watched it at all? Or
of course, I have watched it. I don't watch a lot of TV because of my travel schedule, but I'm very well aware of UFC. Yeah.
Cool. So you're traveling a lot because, of course, you're performing on film, and then also you're doing a lot of feature dancing. Is that basically what you're doing?
Correct. I'm at a point where I've built up my name and I have a huge fan base. So now I'm able to monetize my name and my brand by making appearances, such as hosting parties, feature dancing, book store signings, stuff like that.
You see, Tom, I think that would be a great gig for you.
Yeah, I think so as well. I already have a couple places.
The porn star part?
Well, the feature dancing, I believe. I have a few places.
Tom, I would so come and throw hundreds at you.
Hundreds? Oh,
hundreds.
Gee, that sounds pretty good, actually. I was, like I said, I was just down at dinner, and I was dipping out, telling the guys, hey, I got to go do an interview with Nikki Benz, and everybody was quite jealous. A lot of the guys I was with were very familiar with your work and big fans. And those who weren't assured me that they're going to go do some research on their own later.
There you go. Well, tell them I said hello.
I shall.
And with the beauty of Google, it's like you mentioned Nikki Benz, and they're like, well, I don't know exactly. But then, pull it right up on their phone. They're like, oh, I know who that is.
Oh, no. They knew exactly who it was. So,
Nikki, I heard this, or I did some research, because I try to be a broadcast professional, but I'm not really. I'm just a guy that, says a lot of stuff, and sometimes it comes true, sometimes not. But I heard that you were the youngest person in Toronto to work at Starbucks.
That is correct. I was 15 when they hired me. I shouldn't say first. I only worked there once, but I was 15, and I was, and my birthday's not until December. So yeah, I was a baby. I worked with a bunch of 30-year-olds and 20-year-olds, and I loved it because they paid a lot more than any other job a 15-year-old could get. Such as I used to work at McDonald's first, and then I quit that for Starbucks. So yes, it was fun. To this day, I still know how to make most of those drinks.
That's amazing. Tom, when you go to McDonald's, you don't expect to see Nikki Benz. Or even,
Hold on, I was 15. Come on now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was in Nikki Benz back then.
So that leads into the next question. How did you morph into this alter ego, Nikki Benz?
Okay, so I was saving money for college, and I started stripping, and the money was really good. I loved the money and the attention I was getting as a stripper in Toronto, Canada. And I thought, what if I take it to another level? and become a porn star. And then I kind of did my research. I literally did research, and I looked up Jenna Jameson, and I saw how successful and beautiful she was, and she had this power of pussy, whatever you want to call it. I don't care, but she had this power about her, and like this image, and just this sort of sexual identity, and I wanted to have that. So I emailed a porn director that I also found by searching on Google.com, and the rest is sort of porn history. And I decided not to go to college. I didn't want to be in debt and spent 7 years on something that I may not like doing later on. So I just became a porn star. I figured I like sex. That's my common denominator.
Now, Nikki, it's pretty interesting that you brought up Jenna Jameson, because my corner man and her have a little bit of a past. They appeared on a VH1 reality show together in the past. So, it's kind of interesting.
So what you're saying is, thank God I don't watch TV and I didn't watch the show, right? That's what you're saying?
No, I don't. I have not watched the show either. To be honest, I'm not much for television. I do most of my video watching on tube sites. So
I do as well.
Yeah.
What about you, Tom? Do you watch TV?
You mean me, Brian? Yeah. No, not really. I don't watch much TV. I watch the UFC fights. I watch boxing, documentaries. That's about it. Everybody's. Tom, what show was it? They were like, "Oh, did you get that?" We were talking to Reed, and he's like, "Did you get the Wedding Crashers reference?" And I'm like, "No, totally went over my head."
Yeah, Brian, I pegged you more as like a guy that watches Zooey Deschanel's New Girl, actually, but I guess not, huh?
You see, that went totally over my head too. See, I don't even know who that is.
Really? I mean, it's a real show.
It's a real show?
But, yeah, it's geared towards the female population. But I digress.
So, Nikki, you're 18 or 19 years old, and like, why do you want to get into this business? I mean, it sounds like you had
20, about to be 21. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I cut you off. I tend to do that a lot when I'm nervous. Not that I'm even a little bit nervous. You guys are kind of intimidating.
Yeah, well, nothing could be worse. I mean, I don't get to talk to people of your stature every day. I talk to guys that go inside a cage and punch each other. That's
so hot, though, to me. I need to go to a game really soon. Not a game, a fight. Jesus Christ. Fight. I'm getting my sports mixed up over here.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. A fight card is typically what they'll call them.
So you're saying you're all around guys a lot?
Yeah. Basically, when you go to these fights, it's like 90% dudes, which, you're not really there to meet women, but, if you're drinking and then, you got to go to the bathroom, when it's 90% dudes, the line becomes like a women's line.
Yeah, now you know how we feel. I don't feel bad for you because I deal with that shit all the time.
Yeah. Nikki, is there a lot of, especially in the men's room at these UFC fights, there's a lot of meat gazing going on? Is that kind of thing happening in the female bathroom as well?
I don't think so. I mean, we just go and do our thing, pee and touch up our lip gloss, and that's about it. We're out. But you guys have those urinals or whatever. What do they call? So you check out each other's junk and all that stuff. It sounds a little gay to me, to be honest.
Well, but who does that though? Tom, you might do that. I mean, I just look straight ahead. How do you play it?
Brian, let me put it this way, right? I'm a competitor at heart.
Right.
So, there's competitive nature in my blood. I want to see what I'm up against out there. So I'm looking left, I'm looking right, I'm surveying the competition, and then I'm formulating a game plan.
Well, yeah, but I read something, and Nikki, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I gave a similar speech one time, looking left, looking right. Only I was talking about a certain person, which I'm not going to name, but. Brian, you may know something about that.
Yeah. Somebody that it's funny, that person that you mentioned. I
We
actually
can,
know
we can say her
someone.
name. It's okay. Lisa Ann. I gave a very famous Ex-Biz Awards speech. It's on my website.
Yeah.
It's also online somewhere, I think.
Yeah, and Tom, Nikki had a dust up with, and we kind of use this little jargon. She had a little dust up, a little program, if you will, with Lisa Ann, and I watched it all play out on Twitter, and I was really I was shocked because Lisa Ann made an outlandish allegation against Nikki just because
Right.
she went on vacation.
She verbally attacked me on Twitter, and she thought, here's the thing about Lisa Ann. A lot of people in the industry, in my industry, in the adult movie industry, are intimidated by her. So she picks on a lot of people. If you follow her on Twitter, she rants about pretty much everybody. I mean, from adult stars to athletes to movie stars. She goes in a rant about people. And a lot of people don't really talk back to her. They're intimidated, or they think, whatever, it'll blow over. And then because she was my close friend at a point in time, and she kind of verbally attacked me, and I had a 7-hour flight, when I saw all that and I had 7 hours to think about everything, I basically responded with a lot of awesome historic tweets, if I want to say it that way.
I don't know if you saw it, Tom, but I mean, she put out everything about Lisa Ann. It was just like, Lisa Ann threw a rock at her and she detonated a nuclear bomb on her.
I don't
I like
know
how you describe that, Brian.
I don't know what to say there.
Yeah, that's one of my go-to lines. That's why I set it up. I didn't fumble over it.
What I want to know right now is what Brian is wearing and what Tom is wearing, because I'll tell you what I'm wearing.
All right. Brian, you go first, buddy.
I have a yellow Lacoste golf shirt, and boxer shorts. I mean, I'm trying. See, the majority of people that listen to this are guys. I'm trying not to. What about you, Tom? What do you got?
First, I have on a pair of assless chaps on the bottom. And then on top, I'm wearing a nice lace, halter top.
I would hope you. Why would you have to point out the fact that you're wearing the assless chaps on the bottom? Where else would you be wearing them, Tom?
That's a good point. That's a good point. And Brian, I'd just like to make this point that it's Reebok. It's a Reebok outfit.
Yeah, it's Reebok. And
are you sponsored by Reebok? Is that what this is?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Product placement at its finest.
Yeah, the UFC signed a deal with Reebok.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
I'm wearing non-Reebok leggings, and I'm topless because I literally was going to jump in the shower before you called me, and I figured I would just wait after the interview. So
that would probably be the best time to do that. Probably not get into the shower while we're on this interview. Although if you'd like to do that, I'm sure we can accommodate.
Well, I have a waterproof phone. I could have done that if I wanted to.
Well, if you want to give it a try, we can see how it goes.
No, I'll stay dry for now.
Well, you're the only one on this phone line that's staying dry right now. So
there's no sexual innuendos at all in this interview, I swear.
No,
Never.
well, it's hot here in Chicago, so I'm sweating.
Because Tom had teased me the last show because we had Kendra Lust on. I'm a big fan of Kendra Lust.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you know her, but
of course.
Yeah, okay. So Tom had to train that night because he trains and coaches a lot on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And he was teasing me that I scheduled it on purpose on a Thursday so he wouldn't be on the show. And that's simply not true.
It's not true, Tom.
Well, I don't believe you, Brian. But
Brian, he doesn't believe you.
See, I'm going out on Friday. I'm going to Tom's fight as a supportive friend. So I'll be going out to Chicago. And Chicago, do you perform in Chicago because you go on tour, right?
Yeah, I feature danced in Chicago once, and I was there for like a party hosting thing. Chicago is like a tough city. I don't know How do you like it?
I mean, the times that I've been there, I've been downtown. Usually the place where the UFC stays is the Hard Rock, and it's a pretty good time. What about you? How are you enjoying it, Tom?
I haven't gotten to see too much of the city so far. Actually, I was out walking around today, and I got intercepted on the street by a fan who was nice enough to show me around for a few hours. So I went down to, I believe it's Millennium Park and Grant Park, and saw some of the sites. But then I had to come back here to the room and do some research for this interview. So, I was out for a few hours, and I was back in the room for
Tom,
about 10 minutes.
I hope you found everything you were looking for during your research. A little tip, coconut oil works great instead of lube or lotion.
Yeah. Well, I had room service last night, and there was a jar of Grey Poupon left, so I decided to use that.
You guys are killing me.
Yeah, and you think he's joking. I mean, I could definitely see him. See, that's the difference in Tom's business, because in his world, he's a bit of a celebrity. He's a well-known. He's been in the UFC for like 8 years, and
7 years.
7 years. And it's very difficult.
Brian, get your facts straight.
It's terrible.
7 years.
7 years. It's very difficult to stay at that elite level. Just like, you've been over a decade in this business at the top.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So how do you maintain that status? I mean, are you like a workout fanatic, or how do you do it?
I'm a professional. I show up on set on time. When I feature dance, I'm ready when they tell me to be ready. I don't get fucked up at work, which some girls do. Just because you're performing at a club doesn't mean you can drink the entire fucking bar. You know what I mean? So I just keep it professional. That's work. People forget that what I do may be your fantasy or your fun, but that's my work. And the reason I was able to be in the industry and still be relevant and popular, I think I'm more popular now than ever, and a lot of it to do is with social media, but it's just keeping it professional. It's my work. I'm professional. I love what I do, and I feel blessed. I don't care. I'm getting paid to have sex. I love it. I love it.
That's a good point, because I've been paying for years and years, and I think you're making out better on this deal than I am.
So grateful palm mustard, right? Huh? I prefer honey mustard, but anyway. What about you, Brian? How do you jerk off? Do you use lotion, dry hand, spit?
Yeah, dry hand. A little bit of a traditionalist.
Okay.
See, I'm gonna get teased like endlessly because of this.
It's okay. We're
As
just
well
being
you
honest.
should.
We're just living. I just tell them, let me live. You're just living life. You're good.
A lot of people they didn't believe that I was going to interview Nikki Benz with Tom. They were like, "Nah, bro, you're no, come on, man."
Well, you know what? Don't pay attention to the haters and doubters. That's what I say. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, when you're doing your films, you've been doing this for like 11 years. Do you get to select like who you work with? How does that work?
To a point. For example, when I work for browsers, I tend to only sort of work with the same 3 male talents, just because they prefer, they have contract boys, like they have guys contracted to the company. So my selection is very limited. But I'm at a point now where, because my rate is a little higher than your average porn star, they're going to hire a male talent that's phenomenal. That's amazing. So usually it's somebody I like working with anyway, because a company would not want to waste a day paying for makeup, location, the production crew, everything, and hire a poor male talent to work with me, because then the scene would tank. It wouldn't do good. So, I'm at a point where I'm blessed to work with like the top male talent in this industry. And I don't even have a no list anymore, because most companies hire me with the same amazing dudes.
So, Tom, how long do you think you could last with Nikki Benz if they hired you?
I think Tom would destroy me.
No, I don't think so. Based on my performance earlier, I mean, the research I was doing, I would guess maybe somewhere in the realm of like 10 nanoseconds.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be a problem, right, Nikki? I mean,
honestly,
do these guys
if
last?
that happened after me putting in effort, like looking nice and looking good, smelling good, probably having dinner with you or some shit like that, and then you only last that long, I'd be so pissed.
Well, isn't part of the part of the game being able to get it back on track and continue on, fight through?
No, motherfucker, you jerk off at home and then you come to me fully loaded.
Oh, I see how it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She brings up a good point. You kind of want to get it gone and then show up, so you're not too jumpy.
I don't do no charity work. You bring it. You're a gladiator. Put up a fight.
Damn. I know. Yeah. That would be tough to kind of fight through that adversity. Usually in my line of work, I'm trying to finish things as quickly as possible, not prolong them. I don't get paid by the minute, so I'm trying to get it in and get it over with. But I could see the differences in the two professions.
There's quite a lot of difference, but I was talking about like just chilling, not even like doing it on film. I mean, I would be disappointed if you only lasted that long.
What about you, Brian? I mean, you're throwing this at me. I'm in the middle of a training camp here. My mind isn't exactly
Brian,
on top of things.
Why are you putting him under the bus like that?
That's kind of our thing, He sometimes, I take it,
Yeah, you take it? Is that how it works? You take it? Okay, I see. So yeah, Nikki's been on top of her profession for a while, and you're on the bottom?
Oh, and just like these filthy FRB shirts that are coming out called Well-Deserved Obscurity. And that's actually a line that I ripped from the Warren Brothers. They're a country duo, and the name of their debut album was Well-Deserved Obscurity. And that's what I believe, for me, well-deserved.
I agree in a lot of ways. Nikki, I have a question, and this is a little bit more serious than the topic we're on. But can you tell us more about your mayoral campaign?
I sure can. What exactly would you like to know? Do you have a question? What kind of platform you were looking to run on, and some of your ideas to improve the local government. Obviously, Toronto was, I wouldn't say under attack, but it was in the limelight for a while because of Rob Ford. Absolutely, bless his heart.
Yeah, very interesting character. Who I would love to see.
You know what? He's actually a good man. He was a great mayor. It's unfortunate that his private life. Look, the man wants to smoke crack. I don't even think he was smoking crack. The motherfucker was fat as fuck. If he's smoking crack, he should not be that fat. Anyway, that's besides the point. That's besides the point. He was actually one of the best mayors Toronto has ever had. He did everything he promised to do. He made the city money. He created jobs. He was a good man. But moving along, I came along and I was going to run for Toronto mayor. And one of the things I wanted to do was bring the adult industry to Toronto to create jobs, create money for the city, because Canada doesn't really have an adult industry like the U.S. has. We have a little bit of it in Montreal, Canada, but that's about it. So I wanted to bring the adult industry to the city, also improve Toronto transit, which is horrible, and I wanted to lower taxes for first-time home buyers because Toronto has a lot of people 25 between the age of 25 and 35 who are buying their first home, and I wanted to make sure they can benefit and they have sort of like good incentive to buy a home. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, the one thing that I want to clarify, I didn't run for Toronto mayor and then I was denied because of my driver's license being expired. I'm originally from Toronto, Ontario, which is our province. We don't have states. A lot of people in the U.S. don't realize Canada has provinces, not states. So anyway, my driver's license, province of Ontario, was expired, and a lot of reports reported that that's the reason why I couldn't run for mayor. I actually pulled out. I decided because a lot of my personal info was being released, and then they were like sort of releasing stuff on my family. I just figured it wasn't really safe for my family, and I didn't want them exposed because of what I do. Because I'm a porn star, there's already like certain info out there that I wouldn't want people to know, and then they were like digging deeper into my family and me, and I just figured it's not worth it, so I pulled out. And plus, I have a full flourishing career in the adult industry here in LA, so I really didn't have time, to be honest, to do all that. But one day, you never know. One day I may just move back to Toronto and run for mayor again.
But I think your priorities were in the right place. You know, you were thinking about job creation, you know, the economy and helping younger people find real estate opportunities when, you know, real estate, I would assume in Toronto is very expensive. And, you know, when you're younger, you really, maybe you don't have that down payment that some older people have had time to amass.
Now, I know neither.
Definitely. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I know neither of you watch much TV, but Home and Garden Network has a lot of shows like, I don't know if it's Love It or Listed or Property Brothers or what it is, but a lot of the stuff comes from Toronto, and I watch it and I see like the prices on these houses, and it's like, you know, at no point in my life could I afford to buy a home in Toronto. You know, and they're not even getting into like the real downtown areas and stuff. So I can only imagine, you know, what it's like having to live there and the prices and everything else like that. And, you know, where I live, it's relatively cheap in Las Vegas to buy a home.
Oh my God, I love Vegas. I want to buy a home there because it's so cheap.
You could probably do it after one day of work. You know, it's really, really inexpensive. So yeah.
Yeah, they need to invite, one of those places in Vegas need to invite you to feature dance one of these weekends, one of these, like the Super Bowl weekend or July 4th or.
What for? They don't need a feature. They don't need to spend extra money. They're going to get the crowd anyway. It's all about the bottom line, which is really how much they make in a day.
See,
right?
that
I would be adding to their overhead.
See, that's interesting because I don't know the economics of feature dancing. I also don't know the economics because I know for the majority of your career you've been what they call a contract star. Now,
correct.
I don't even know what that means. You know, is that good or does that kind of limit your income possibilities?
Well, it was definitely 10 years ago, 11 years ago. The industry wasn't internet driven, so being a contract girl was actually really good because you got paid good money. You had a big marketing team behind you that promoted your name and created your brand. You didn't shoot as much, so you sort of like, you know, there's more demand than supply, which made your name even more popular. So at the time, it was excellent. You know, it was really. Every girl entering the adult industry 10 years ago wanted to be a contract girl, but not every girl could be one. I've had 5 contracts kind of back to back, and then after my last one, I decided, because the industry has changed, I sort of assessed my situation, and I decided I don't ever want to have a contract. I want to be a freelance performer, which is what I am now, and I'm my own boss. So now for me, it works not to have a contract, but back then, it was definitely something that every performer aspired to have.
So, Tom, do you have any follow up on that? I mean, the contract.
Brian, I lost him.
Yeah, no, actually, not on that because my experience with the industry kind of falls as a spectator. The whole time, actually, since Nikki was talking about the provinces thing, I'm wondering how many provinces, Brian, you could name in Canada. I've been thinking about that the whole time since she said it.
So, no, don't say it because Brian's going to look it up on Google right now, and I know exactly what he's doing.
Okay, well, so Toronto.
I think I can name almost all of them. So
Ontario, Quebec, Manitoba.
Quebec, No, he's looking it up on Google. You're reading it out right now. I can tell.
Are you really, Brian?
I'm not. But
Brian, I think I could do this.
What are there? Are there 12 provinces?
Oh, that I don't know. I was just going to start rattling some off. But.
You see, Nick. The reason why Tom used to be a high school history teacher or middle school. What was it?
Really?
History. History. High school. Yeah, it was high school history.
Yeah.
And I knew all. I don't know if I still know them, but I knew all the CFL teams. which
Oh
is like
God,
a
I
big
don't
feather
even
in
know
my
that.
cap.
How do you? I have to ask. How do you go from high school teacher to a UFC fighter?
Well, I was kind of like doing both at the same time, on a lower level as far as fighting goes. I don't know. That's a really good question. I guess, at 18 years old, they send you off to college and they expect you to be able to make a decision that's going to impact the rest of your life. And pretty much to that point, I guess all I had known was, being in school. So I thought, it'd be like a natural progression. Oh, I'll teach. I'll teach school. And actually, originally, I was an elementary education major. And I think a large portion of that was because I thought, like, oh, yeah, there's going to be a lot of single moms. I'm going to be teaching their kids, and they're going to be looking for it, So, as time went by, obviously, I changed my mind and switched gears and ended up being a social science education major. But, the entire time in the back of my mind, I, had other plans, whether it was fighting or professional wrestling or wherever the case may be. So that's kind of how I made the transition. But I still do remember a lot of random facts, much like you would in a history class.
Right. I'm not going to lie. I hated history in high school. But I think it was mostly because my teacher was so boring. It was just so
yeah,
like, oh
that was
God,
my goal too.
Now,
yeah, my goal was to bore the kids into submission, much like my fighting style.
Now,
So.
Nikki, like you were a really good student, right? You were contemplating going to law school?
That was the plan until I got sort of sidetracked by money and wanting to become famous.
So you were stripping, and I think I saw this interview. It was pretty recently. You were stripping, and there was a guy. You were dating a guy at the time who thought it would be a cool idea for you to pursue this adult entertainment career. So
no, wait, I have to interrupt you. Not at all. He didn't think anything. In fact, he never wanted me to kind of go into it because, hello, I was his girlfriend. He introduced me to Jenna Jameson, and we used to watch porn together because I didn't know anything about porn or Jenna. I didn't know who Jenna was until him. And then he gave me that idea, not him personally, but I got an idea from watching her films to be like, oh my God, I kind of want to do that. And I did.
Now, what made you want to do it? Was it the fame or what was it?
I got to a point where, to be honest, when you're 18 and 19, when I was 18, 19, I was stripping, and I was making money, a lot of money, cash, and I just realized I didn't want to do, like I said, 7 years of college, and then, because I did want it to become an attorney, but I figured, like, you're 19, you go for 7 years to college, like, who knows? I was sort of like, I didn't know what I wanted. I was afraid that I'd do all those years in school and then not want to be an attorney, and then, I just didn't want to sort of like conform and be your average citizen with a husband and 2 kids and a white picket house. And I was always very sexual, and just doing research on Jenna Jameson inspired me to get into porn and just say goodbye to school and not conform to, the average society or like the standard society sort of like, portrayal of an average citizen.
So, Tom, the gym that you train at in Las Vegas, Syndicate, isn't that owned by Jenna Jameson's boyfriend or former?
Okay. Yeah, I was just motioning to him that Jenna Jameson came up in the conversation, but no, it is not her boyfriend. Hold on. Would you like him to get on the line?
Wait, hold on. Who's Jenna dating right now?
Well, I don't know.
His name is John Wood, right?
Correct. Yeah, but that's not. I mean, they're not together.
But wasn't he on a reality show with her?
Yeah. Do you want to talk to him? He's right here.
Yeah, but put him on.
All right,
yeah,
okay,
put him on, John
Hold
Wood.
on. Here you go.
I like his last name. It's very appropriate.
Yo.
Hello, Mr. Wood.
Hello.
You might want to introduce yourself.
Now, for the people that don't know, John owns the Syndicate MMA gym in Las Vegas, which is a place where a lot of the best fighters in the world go to train. And John, so you used to date Jenna Jameson. Do I got that right?
Yeah, we dated for a little bit.
What's a little bit?
Well, me and Jenna kind of actually had an interesting backstory. If anybody, obviously, we did a little reality show on VH1 that I don't know if anybody saw or not, but we known each other for a long time, and we were just in the circles. And back in the day, Jenna was obviously married to Tito, and I was married to a former UFC ring girl, and a bunch of stuff. And we kind of ended up, kind of hanging in the same circles and whatnot. And so our let's just say that our exes ended up, being together. We all split up, and then Tito and my ex are together, and then me and Jenna kind of got to know each other through the years, and we ended up dating a little bit, and it turned into a fun little experience.
So isn't that something, Nikki? So they basically like switched off.
I know. I've always wondered about couples that do that because that happens quite a lot.
It's not like we intended to do that. It wasn't meant to be that way, but it just kind of ended up that way. But
hey, look, I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
But yeah, it was.
No, I'm kidding. I was judging a little bit.
It's okay. Judge all you want. Yeah. No, it was definitely a crazy experience and crazy thing. And then, of course,
when you say crazy, not going into detail because obviously it's private, but you mean her being crazy or the whole situation being crazy?
I think you could probably do the math on that one and figure it.
Okay. Say no more.
No, it's Jenna's got an interesting lifestyle, and she's been and done a lot, and I'm just I'm not going to say too much on that, but it's let's just say it was a crazy experience.
Well, you know what? At least like experiences are great. I'm sure you walked away from that relationship with some type of new knowledge, so it's good, right?
Yeah, I have definitely no bad blood or regrets on anything, and actually, I ended up meeting my current wife out of that situation from, came from, won't go into that, but I got a lot of good things, just had, a wife and kid now and a whole deal. So definitely that whole thing was an awesome experience. But, I can say that, it was far be it one of the craziest 6 months of my life, I shall say.
It's the whole the MMA industry and the porn industry seems to be intertwined, like for better or sometimes for worse, with this HBO thing with Christy Mack and John Copenhaver. Well,
I mean, believe it or not, like I think that, and I'm not judging porn, but might not have some of the. Let's just say that there might be some crazy people in both industries. It might not be the most well-adjusted people on both sides of the fence there with fighters and porn stars. And so, sometimes they meet up and it's just it's a beautiful disaster. But, it's, I mean, who doesn't love fighting and porn?
So,
I couldn't have said it better.
So, Nikki, are you dating anybody currently, or does your profession make it difficult to have that type of off-screen relationship?
I've been single. I mean, I've gone on dates and I go out with guys once in a while, but I am very busy. So, in order for me to take out time for somebody, I really have to like you. I've always had a boyfriend, like a steady, long-term boyfriend, up until 2 years ago. And then I became single, for a while, for the first time ever, because I've always sort of had boyfriends back to back to back. And I love being single. I love it. Like don't get me wrong. I go out, I have sort of I have certain guys in my life that I'm friends with, and if they're in LA, I'm in LA, we'll go out to dinner and hook up, and I've known them for a while, but I don't date them. We just sort of hook up. They're booty calls, and I'm okay with that because I don't have time for anything else. But I've never found it hard to date. I've always dated, but I'm at a point where I don't want a relationship. I really am enjoying being at home, and when I'm on the road, I don't have to call anybody and tell them where I'm at, or it's just, so this newfound freedom that I've had for the past 2 years has been quite nice. I'm not going to lie.
What do you think about that, John?
I mean, well, I just, like I said, just got married and had a kid, so I can't really, I'm not really going to say, oh God, that sounds awesome. That's great. But I mean, yeah, the single life is it has its perks, but, I've been down that road for a long time and got all my, I waited quite a long time to settle down with the right woman and have a kid and do all that stuff. I'm 35 now and I've had my fun share. And I mean, geez, I wouldn't regret anything I've done, but, it was time for me to get off that roller coaster for a little bit.
Sure. Nikki, you asked Tom, like, how did he get into this? And one of the ways that he was able to become a bigger name in this industry, he was on a reality show called The Ultimate Fighter. And it's like 13 episodes, and they film the guys. They lock them in a house in Las Vegas, and they fight. They fight too. And I know that you were involved in a not a fight reality show, but a reality show to find the next contract girl with Digital Playground. Is that still ongoing, or is that something that's already?
That's already done. They're going to start filming season 2 end of this year. But yeah, that was a fun experience. Well, I did actually 2 reality shows. One for Brazzers, called Brazzers House, and one for Digital Playground called DP Star. Yeah, they're like porn reality shows,
So what? Is it a total reality show, or is there like, or is it scripted?
Well, it's scripted to a point, like any reality show. Like with the UFC show, it was scripted that these guys live in this house and whatever happens, happens. It was the same thing with DP Star. Certain girls auditioned and then we picked the finalists and then whatever, we didn't script what they, for example, had to answer. Like if I asked them a question, their answers weren't scripted, but sort of like the show had to have a storyboard. That's as much as it was scripted, and the rest is reality, yeah.
So you've been in this industry 11 or 12 years, and you're still really young yourself. What advice would you have for girls that are entering the business? Because I watched on Netflix some documentary called "Hot Girl Want It." I don't know if you had the opportunity to see it.
Oh, is it the one that Shonda, or whatever the fuck her name, did?
I don't know. I think it was a hatchet job on the industry. It was these girls that thought they would answer a Craigslist ad, and then the next day they're Nikki Benz. And
right. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I haven't watched that documentary, but if it's the same documentary that I'm thinking about, which this mainstream actress produced, and she kind of tried to make the adult industry look bad. And I actually tweeted her. I said, look, I've only dated people in the mainstream. I never date adult stars, okay? So I know what's going on. And I told her I can do a documentary and expose a lot of people on your side of the industry and show the drug use and, the hookers guys get and womanizing and whatnot and cheating and all that. I mean, every industry has its dark sort of secrets. And like I said, I don't know if it is the same documentary you're talking about. Yeah, of course I don't agree with it, and I hate that a lot of people are trying to make my industry look bad just because they don't really understand it. But yeah.
So if you had to give some advice to somebody that was entering the industry, what would you tell them? Would you say, hey, wait till you're in your mid-20s, or what would...
I would tell them that if they want to be an adult entertainer, they have to really commit to it, because you can't just do 2 scenes and then think you're going to get your paycheck and go home and that's it, because it's on the internet. It's going to be out there forever. It's like sort of getting a tattoo on your face. People are going to know. So you really have to commit to it and be a full-out porn star and save your money, be responsible, be professional, and you can make a good living in this industry if you just are smart about it. Don't be an idiot. But that goes for the same industry. Like a lot of NFL players go broke at the age of 30 because they are not smart with their money or whatnot, or they have poor management. So it's sort of like this: just be professional and be smart about your finances, and that applies to, I think, every industry, not just my industry.
Yeah, I think you're right. Hey, Tom, are you back on the line?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. Be responsible with your money, and maybe there's something to living like that rug might be pulled out from under you at any point. I mean, you're probably in fighting. You're not promised beyond your next fight. In adult films, maybe you're not promised beyond your next scene or series of scenes.
Right.
Yeah,
You always have to have a plan B and realistic expectations, right, Tom?
yeah, absolutely. A lot of people, especially in mixed martial arts, you'll run into a lot of people who basically just run through their money and live above their means. And like you were saying, Nikki, a lot of it kind of goes across all forms of athletics, and not only that, but a lot of other professions as well. People, they get a taste of the good life, and they think that they're going to be able to live that forever. And some people can, some people can't. And everybody has kind of especially in fighting, they have like a finite life in the sport. So you have to try to maximize what you can do in a short period of time. And if you get accustomed to living at a fast pace and spending a lot of money, you have to realize eventually that's gonna run out. And a lot of people don't have the foresight to put money away and start planning for the future, and they live not necessarily like they live paycheck to paycheck, but they're just living outside of their means.
Right.
And you see that a lot with a lot of fighters. You hear about Brian, you hear about the Diaz brothers, right? And like how they're broke or they don't have money. Or you hear about Cowboy Cerrone has to fight all the time because he needs the money. Well, I mean, he's making a pretty good chunk of change, and it's not like he lives in LA or New York or a big city that's taking a lot of his money. He lives in Albuquerque, like out on a ranch. So
Oh, Jesus, it's cheap as fuck over there.
yeah. So he has, a lifestyle that is basically above his means. And in the future, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him. He's done pretty well for himself. And, the Diaz brothers have done well for themselves. So there are people who are going to be able to, kind of make money in the future despite their spending habits in the short term. But, those guys are few and far between.
So, Nikki, how much longer do you see yourself doing this? Because it seems like, there's a new genre, like with women that are older, like even in another decade, when you're in your 40s or whatever.
And
I mean, there's still a great...
The MILF genre became really popular, which is good for me because I'm 33 and there's performers in their 50s and like 40s that are like super popular. And I'm like, okay, I can potentially do this into my 40s. Do I want to? I don't know. Probably not. I could get knocked up and that's it. I'm done. I'm going to be a mom and that's it. If I ever have a kid, I would never perform or do. I would direct and produce, but I wouldn't perform. But I can't answer that. It's hard to answer, to be honest, because, look, I'm getting booked, I'm popular, I'm making money, and it's hard to say no to the money. I don't care how successful you are. I'm not ready to retire. I'm not going to say no to money, So I don't really know how to answer that. I don't have a definite answer. I don't have a number for you.
Sure. So what haven't you done on film that you want to do before you call it a day?
That I want to do? I don't know if I want to do it. I haven't done, I haven't done a lot, really.
She hasn't done you, Brian, that's for sure.
I've never done you.
Yeah, the best 30 seconds of her life. Well, how about...
Again, I'd be very disappointed, Brian. Very disappointed.
Yeah, well, story of my life. But, there's... So, like, you've been in the industry for 12 years, but, like...
I like that throughout the interview you went from 10 years to 11 to 12.
Yeah, I don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. Tom knows that. So there's like a lot of performers, they won't do interracial scenes for like an extended period of time. Now, some people say that that's like kind of racist, and then some people say that that's good business, that you're upping the ante until somebody wants to pay that price. Well,
the thing is, first of all, what price are we talking about? If a girl's charging more for interracial, that's not right. A scene is a scene. A dick is a dick. That's it. It doesn't matter what color it is. So girls that actually do charge more for interracial scenes, that's not right. That's not racist.
I've been telling girls, Nikki, I've been telling girls that a dick's a dick for years and years. and all I've been met with is laughs when it comes to me. So,
well, wait. Maybe when it comes to you, I gotta see your dick though. I want to see what you're working with, and then I can assess the situation.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
How's your eyesight? Do you wear glasses? Do you have contacts? A
Am
magnifying
I
glass?
gonna need my tweezers or not?
Yeah, you might need the Hubble telescope.
But here's the thing, Tom. I was doing some research on Nikki, and she did an interview several years back saying that she prefers average men, average endowed men.
100%. Because when it's too big, it's actually not a blessing. It's a curse. Like, it hurts. I don't want to work with it, and I don't want to fuck it.
Yeah. Can we get I need to get a soundbite of that and just play it on repeat.
But here's the thing. Obviously, in porn, guys are way bigger than average. Usually, a guy's bigger than average, and at home. But I'm talking about at home. At home, when I'm dating somebody, I don't want a porn dick. I don't. I want average is, I think, 5 to 6. I don't know, but a 5-inch penis is more than plenty. Trust me.
Yes.
So that makes a lot of our listeners more secure in themselves.
As they should be. It's how you fuck. It's the chemistry between the people. You gotta eat good pussy too, though. So you know.
Because in that same interview, you said something like it takes a while to adjust to porn dick versus like your regular life. Is that what you were saying?
I don't think I ever said that. I just said I do remember saying that the first time I ever worked, because I started off doing girl porn, and then when I moved on to doing boys, I remember the first boy-girl scene I did, I had a hard time sort of like fitting it in. And after the scene, I was super sore because I'm not used to that kind of dick and that kind of sex. Porn sex is fast and furious. You're not making love, you're making porn, and you're putting on a performance for you to enjoy. And so that's what we did, and I wasn't used to it, and so I just had to get used to it. That's it. At home, I have sex. I don't have fast and furious sex, unless if I want to. In porn, that's what you do. You put on a performance. But for a girl, you guys don't have a vagina, you wouldn't know, but, if I'm fucking like a 5-inch dick, and the next day I go to work and it's 8 inches, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing some research only for this interview, and you did something with Lexington Steele.
Yes,
and
I did. I've done 2 scenes with him, and he hurts. I love working with him though, because we do he just fucks good. But his dick is definitely it ain't no minor league. Let me tell you that.
You hear that, Tom?
Yeah. I'm dealing with a class A team here. if we're talking minor leagues, I'm on the low farm level.
But Nikki said that's okay. So
whoa! You said low. Whoa! It's not okay if it's under 3 inches, though. Come on.
Class A. I don't know what that equates to.
I don't know either, but you're truly very humble about yourself, so that's good.
So, Nikki, you've been so generous with your time. I just want to one last thing. Your best scene, or the one that you're most proud of, that people that listen to this would go online and try to find. What would you recommend?
Oh man, I'm gonna be honest. I think it's unfair just to say or pick one scene because I have so many amazing scenes. But I'll give you top 3. There's going to be a new scene that's going to come out with me and Romy Rain and Lexington Steele for Lex Turns Evil 4 from Evil Angel, but that's in the future. A current scene I did with Kieran Lee for Browsers. It was a Kim K parody. That one was good. And then I'm going to say... God, I don't know. Brian, why don't you help me out? You've done a lot of research on me. What's your favorite scene?
I can hear him typing right now.
I know, right? Little fucker. He thinks we don't know.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that was the one. That was the Break the Internet one, right? With Kieran.
Yes, exactly. Break the Internet. Yeah. That was one of my first scenes with really dark hair for Browsers. So a lot of people didn't read it because I used to be, platinum blonde, and then I went to basically having black hair, and a lot of people kind of freaked out. Now they're used to it. Now they love it. But yeah.
How about you, Tom? Do you have a a favorite Nikki Benz scene?
I think Tom is one of those guys where he just watches a porno for like a minute, jerks off, and he's good. He doesn't care what girl it is.
You're being pretty generous there by saying a minute. No, I'm actually.
Okay, fine.
You know
30
what?
seconds.
You know what? We were talking about this at dinner earlier. I'm more of like into black girls.
Oh,
So,
wow. Okay. So you're
yeah.
white? Are you white?
Yeah.
I don't even know what
Jada
you
Fire.
look like.
Jada
You know
Fire
what?
is a
First
favorite
of all,
of mine.
I need to do some research on you. I should have done that before this interview, kind of like you did on me.
Yeah, you're not gonna find quite the same information, but
Do you know what his nickname is, Nikki?
What is it?
Filthy Tom Lawler.
Filthy. So okay. So so Rihanna or Beyonce?
oh, neither one. They're both too skinny.
What the fuck? What is wrong with you?
Nothing.
Anyway, I'm Team Rihanna, but good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm Team Jada Fire. She's my favorite.
She's not black though.
Yes, she is.
She's not?
Jada
Yes, she
Fire?
is. Yeah.
Brian, help me out. Is she black?
I'm pretty sure she is.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm thinking of another Jada. My bad. I don't know these porn girls.
Let me see here.
Jada Fire?
Yeah, she's definitely black.
Okay. Is she like BBW?
No.
No. I mean, she's not in like great shape, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
I don't know what you mean, but I'm gonna look her up too, though. All right. Well, now I know what you like. What do you like, Brian?
You know, I mean, I reach out to the porn chicks that I think are cool, like Kendra Lust, you.
How did you know I was cool though? Because you don't know me. Come on now.
Well, I followed you on Twitter, and then
Uh-huh.
when you let this pipe bomb off about Lisa Ann, I'm just like, wow, she'd be really interesting. I mean, this was just like, wow. And I have a friend that's in the mainstream film industry who knows her, who actually got her into like a normal film, like not the adult industry.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, she does exactly what she's accusing Nikki of doing.
Right.
He's
and
like,
so the thing is, we all know that in the industry, so it's just kind of funny.
yeah. So that's when I was
Sometimes, yeah. So what movie was it that you did?
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't.
Okay. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering. I'm only asking because I'm wondering if I know that person as well, but probably not. But yeah. Sometimes people that do certain things point fingers to deflect the attention from them.
Well, I can just tell you, it's a guy named Douglas Crosby. He's a stunt coordinator. He's got like 150 credits on, ID, BM, whatever that. And he's an MMA judge, but
Okay.
his real job is a stunt coordinator.
Right. I think I know what movie you're talking about. I'm not going to name it. I don't want to give it any more promo.
Right.
Because the witch is in it, but whatever. Actually, she wasn't even in it. She's sort of like in the the footage that got, I think, cut off on the floor type of thing, but whatever.
And the other, Tom, the other thing, like, I was like, this Nikki Benz girl's probably not crazy because, like, 2 weeks after you got all upset, there was another girl, Jaden James, who has been linked to Chuck Liddell, a great UFC fighter. She went sideways on her.
Yeah, they were best friends. And Lisa and I, look, I can say this freely. It was all over Twitter. But Lisa went crazy on Jaden, and Jaden cut her ties with Lisa because she realized what I've been claiming, what several other people have been claiming is the truth. And so she didn't want to associate with the crazy. The thing is about crazy people, they're unpredictable, so you don't know what they're capable of. And you really want to steer clear of crazy. I can tell you that.
What do you think of that, Tom?
I tend to gravitate towards it, but I wouldn't recommend that.
But Nikki, this is a guy who decided he wanted to make his living out of being locked inside a steel cage for the amusement of a drunken audience and try to hurt.
Yeah, with another man to be.
Yeah.
Another shirtless man.
And you guys get real close and you smell each other, and you probably give each other the little dating tips or whatnot. It's all very endearing.
All right. Hey, I'll let Tom have the last word, man. You got anything for Nikki? Last?
No. Just fap away, listeners.
So, Nikki, how do they support you? They go to your live shows? You got a website? How do they do it?
If I'm in your town, sure, come out to my feature dance gig. You can check me out on NikkiBenz.com, which I'm completely redoing, and follow me on Twitter at Nikki Benz. Thank you.
And those live appearances are really cool. I was out in Portland, Oregon. My buddy Reese went out to a place called Stars, and yes. I think probably about 8 or 10 months ago, and they were and they went there and they had a great time. You took pictures with them, and you were really nice, and they highly recommended it.
I actually paid them to say it was nice.
All right. Okay. Really appreciate the time, Nikki. That's it's awesome. We went a little long. I'm sorry about that, but again, thanks for the time.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Okay, you too. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.